When governments want to fund large-scale projects, they often use blended finance. This is the strategic use of development finance to mobilize additional private capital for sustainable development. The goal of pooling these resources is to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, the UN's 17 global targets for eliminating poverty and protecting the planet. While this funding method has seen rapid growth, with over 160 facilities launched since the year 2000, the evidence base for these operations remains limited. Measuring success is complicated by three specific factors: complex governance bottlenecks, misaligned incentives between actors, and significant methodological tracking gaps. Without addressing these gaps, it is difficult for governments to verify if public funds are creating real sustainable development, or if they are simply subsidizing projects that would have happened anyway. This flowchart maps blended finance. It starts with ministries providing funds for development targets. Capital passes to DFIs, government banks investing in private projects, and finally to private intermediaries. This creates misaligned incentives. Ministries seek development impact, while private managers prioritize financial returns. Furthermore, these private actors frequently cite commercial confidentiality to restrict access to financial data, which limits transparency regarding exactly how the public subsidies are being used. As this delivery chain grows longer, ministries lose their ability to steer monitoring and evaluation. The system frequently prioritizes internal accountability to the board over actual learning about development outcomes. Every blended finance project must pass one core test to justify the use of public funds: additionality. This matrix visualizes the requirement. The y-axis plots financial additionality. Would commercial money have engaged without public intervention? The x-axis plots development additionality, achieving outcomes the private sector wouldn't produce alone. Public intervention is only justified in this top right quadrant, where both are present. In practice, evaluations often bypass these questions, instead citing leverage ratios, such as $1 of public money mobilizing $10 of private money, as primary proof of success. However, these ratios can be misleading. If a project is already attractive enough to mobilize massive private investment, the public subsidy might be unnecessary, meaning public funds could be crowding out private capital instead of catalyzing it. The standard tools of aid evaluation, like RCTs, are difficult to apply in fluid financial markets. An RCT, or randomized control trial, measures impact by comparing a treated group to an untreated control group. In complex markets, identifying a clean control group is nearly impossible. This leads to a lack of baseline data and an over-reliance on simple before and after observations that don't prove causality. This chart contrasts that linear approach with theory-based evaluation. This method relies on qualitative comparative analysis and process tracing to understand how and why an intervention worked. Since evaluators can't build perfect counterfactuals here, they must rigorously trace the causal mechanisms to prove the public intervention actually transformed the entire market. To improve the effectiveness of blended finance, the industry must shift its focus away from simple compliance and towards systemic learning. This requires three actions: standardized vocabulary for additionality across all partners. Second, demand transparency for public subsidies. Third, adopt theory-based evaluation to capture market changes. By implementing these reforms, institutions can move well beyond reporting financial volumes. By doing so, they will gain the evidence required to determine what actually works, for whom, and in what context.